let me ask you something. What if your company's entire salary list was published online tomorrow? For years, fair pay has been a nice conversation, a good to have. Well, those days are over. It's quickly becoming a legal requirement, and honestly, the entire ground is shifting right under our feet.
Okay, so let's get on the same page and break down exactly what we're talking about here. Pay equity. It's not about paying every single person the exact same salary, not at all. It's about making sure that for substantially similar work, the pay is equal, without things like gender or race muddying the waters.
Now, that sounds great in principle, right? Who wouldn't agree with that? But here's the real question, and I want you to think about this honestly. Can you say with 100% certainty that pay equity is a reality right now where you work?
Because if the answer is no, or even I'm not sure, the consequences are huge. And this isn't just about some legal risk or a compliance headache. Pay inequity, at its core, eats away at the very foundation of a healthy workplace. It creates what experts call a trust deficit, which leads directly to people who are less engaged, less motivated, and, you guessed it, much more likely to look for the exit.
So here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll look at the 2026 mandate that's coming up fast. Then we'll walk through how you can actually conduct a pay equity audit. After that, we'll explore how all this transparency can become a huge asset. And we'll wrap up with the key things you need to be doing, like yesterday.
All right, let's dive into our first section. There's a major new rule that's forcing everyone's hand on this, especially in the EU. And believe me, the clock is absolutely ticking. This right here is the EU Pay Transparency Directive, and it is a total game changer. It officially became law back in 2023, which set a very firm deadline. So right now, this year and next, this is the critical window. This is the time to get your house in order, to run your audits, to prep your data. Because come 2026, full compliance is no longer a suggestion.
So what does this actually mean you have to do? Well, for starters, you have to put salary ranges in every single job ad. No more guessing games for candidates. It also means you've got to give your current employees data on average pay levels, broken down by gender for similar roles. And here's the kicker. If you find a gender pay gap of over 5% that you can't justify with objective factors, you are legally required to fix it. So let's be crystal clear. Ignoring this is just not an option. The consequences are really severe, and they hit you in two ways. First, with some pretty significant financial penalties, and second, with what might be even worse in the long run, a massive blow to your company's reputation.
Okay, with that deadline looming, you're probably wondering, where do we even begin? The answer is pretty simple. You've got to be proactive. It all starts with a pay equity audit, which is how you turn a potential legal nightmare into a real strategic advantage.
The whole process really breaks down into two clear steps. First, you assess. You dive into your data to find those pay gaps. Now, a pro tip here, don't just compare job titles. That's a classic mistake. The law looks at substantially similar work. You have to group roles by skill, effort, and responsibility. Then, second, you act. You have to have a real plan with a real budget to fix any disparities you find. It's not enough to just know the problem exists. And if you're trying to get your head around why the focus is on equity, not just equality, this analogy is perfect. Equality is like giving everyone a size 9 shoe. It doesn't really work for most people. Equity, on the other hand, is about giving everyone a shoe that actually fits them. It's about understanding that different roles deserve different but fair compensation.
Okay, now here's where it gets really interesting. This whole push isn't just about avoiding fines. It's about turning a legal requirement into a powerful business advantage. It's about building a stronger, more trusting organization from the inside out.
And the data on this is so clear. When people believe they're paid fairly, the benefits just ripple across the whole company. You see engagement levels shoot up, you see a big drop in costly turnover, and you build this deep foundational layer of trust that frankly you just can't buy. I love this quote from the source material because it just nails it, you know? The link is so direct. Transparency is what builds the trust, and that trust is what keeps your best people happy, motivated, and sticking with you for the long haul. It's that simple. So we've talked about the law, the how-to, and the big why. Now let's pull it all together and talk about what you need to do to start building that fairer future starting today. Look, if you remember anything from this, make it these 4 points. Number 1, pay equity is not optional anymore. It's a core legal and business must-do. 2, getting ahead with proactive audits is your smartest move for managing risk. 3, Stop thinking of transparency as just a rule to follow. It's a powerful tool for building trust and keeping your top talent, a pillar of any good DEI strategy. And finally, number 4, and I can't stress this enough, that 2026 deadline is way closer than you think. The time to act is now.
So I'll leave you with this final thought experiment. Just imagine for a second that a world where all salaries are public is right around the corner, because it is. Your company's pay structure is about to become a very loud, very public statement about your values. So the only question left to ask is this: when that day comes, will you be proud of what it says?